Welcome to Fish Clips. Let's mess around and make some jigs.
Alright, so I've been playing around a little bit, and I'm pretty fortunate because I was going to do this a much more difficult way just to kind of try it out, and that probably would have deterred me from doing it at all ever again the way I was going to do it. But when I brought it to the attention of my brother-in-law that I was going to do this, he let me borrow some things, namely this, which is just a 110 volt plug operated by this temperature controller. It's got a thermocouple, goes into a electric pot, I guess you'd call it. He also had this hot plate. So, kind of this little system I got now, of course being the beneficiary of my brother-in-law's goodwill, I have everything I need to make some high quality jigs. And I think I messed enough of them up yesterday to know how to do it at this point. So, right now, cutting these sprues off, which will provide me a little more lead to finish up this last batch or two of jigs. Learned a couple of things. One, your mold has to be hot. So we're gonna turn this thing up right here. It's in Celsius and it goes up to like 400. But I found if I had it at 300, which is pretty high, I was able to get a well-formed jig. Otherwise, when the lead falls in, the cool plate cools the lead off before it gets to the bottom where it needs to be. And it's like the thinnest part, so it really needs to stay hot all the way through, all the way down there. Which has proved to be difficult, actually. I imagine if you're going and you had a lot of lead and a lot of setups, and you're going and going and going, you could probably keep that mold pretty hot and be easier. But I found it difficult doing one at a time to keep it hot enough. However, I was reading from other people doing it. Well, they ran the risk of wrecking their mold because getting it too hot. So I guess that's wasn't a problem I was facing, but I guess that is a concern if you have a hot enough hot plate, or if you're running a lot of lead through it. So it's going to take a hot minute, and I will come back when everything's warm and ready to rock. Actually, I'm going to turn this on too since we're here. Thermocouple's in there. Turn that on. I'm heating that up to about 850 degrees. So again, that's all from me experimenting yesterday. I found that I had it set for like 750 and it just didn't seem to be, of course, it didn't seem to be pouring all the way down into the molds, but it could have been because my mold wasn't hot enough, so I cranked them both up. I don't know if one or the other was the issue or both, but I cranked them both up and ran it, and didn't seem to have any adverse side effects. So I'm gonna keep it at that. Just make sure your hooks are lined up in there nicely. You can wreck your mold if you squeeze down on that steel with the hook not placed correctly in there. So I guess that's a precaution you should take. Do that. You can kind of see through the mold and see. I don't know if you can right there. You can see if there's any light shining through. Otherwise, if there is, you got to reset a hook. If there is not, then you're probably pretty good. And it's all flush on top. Alright, that didn't take long. I did put another piece of lead in there because I didn't want to run out and wreck, because I only got 10 left, and I'm trying to get 10 really nice jigs out of it, which would be nice. And then I thought about 100 hooks, but I only bought 50. So, short 50 jig hooks, which will equate to 50 jigs I'm short, which is kind of a bummer, but hopefully it's enough. Maybe I'll fish somewhere where I don't get snagged up. So, this is what I was talking about earlier, an unformed jig. They come in all different kinds, but for instance, I don't know if you can see that or not, right there, it's missing the back, it's missing the hook for your jig, plastic. And then a well-formed one is like this. If you can see that, it's got the barb, right, to catch your plastic, and good jig. So, I think it's gotta be a little hotter in order to get it down there. Alright, I think we're about ready. So, what I have, I was told you should put some paraffin or some wax or something in here, and I have neither. So what I did use was a birthday candle. We'll crush it up, I guess. I guess you don't need that much. I don't think. Kind of like a flux or something. Sticks to the, maybe it helps stick to the steel. I don't know. But it catches fire, so watch out. You want to do that someplace that fire would be a danger. Put a little more in there. Let that cook out of there, then we'll stir it up. I don't know what it's for. So my thermostat's actually at 888. You can see that thermocouple's reading 752. Just started. It just melted that big 1 pound block. So I bought these ingots. 1 pound ingots. 1 pound ingots. All right. Put that aside. So, got a handle here. It gets hot. I'm gonna use these to lift it up. Takes a little bit of coordination. Fill it up to the top of that fill pretty quick. Timing's hard. By the time you see it come up and fill it, it's already to the top of the mold. So the first one I did overflowed a little bit. It takes a little bit of coordination and a little bit of muscle memory. You know, practice a little bit. I get better as I went along. So as soon as they kind of flatten up, they're shiny. When they're liquid, they flatten up. You can get them out of here. Just use my screwdriver, kind of pop them off the top. And then they're gonna be warm. They're gonna be warm. And it looks, there's one of them, it's not real great. The rest of them are good. So good. It's a better average than yesterday. This one didn't finish. I don't know if you can see that. Did not finish. Okay. Didn't finish. The rest of them did. It's good. Okay. I work on furnaces and boilers for a living. My fingertips are pretty much numb. I wouldn't recommend playing with a hot mold with your fingers without some kind of protection. But been burnt enough already. Doesn't affect me quite as much. That's the one. There we go. Everything set correctly, I believe it is. Yep. Alright, I'm gonna put it back in this hot plate for a bit. Okay. Alright. Let's try it again. That's my tool. That's how quick they solidify. Two bad ones. Alright. Alright, there we have it. I'm out of hooks. So order some hooks and get some next time. This one of the ones I just took off. I wasn't paying attention. Okay, this one from earlier. So it's a well-formed jig. This is the sprue. I'm gonna cut the sprue off. Try to cut it, you know, not so much right at the head of the jig because it deforms it, and it probably doesn't matter, but you know, you don't have to wreck it. Don't. Kind of grab towards the tip, I think. Let's see. Grab towards the tip. It deforms a little bit into the jig, but I got a file here, so we're going to file off. It still has a little bit of the edge on it, right? We'll just file that off. So there we go. Here's the finished kind of jig head there. We're gonna set them up and paint them. I think I got some paint. Got some purple. Grab some of this glow in the dark chartreuse and some like neon orange. What do they call it? They got names for these things. Blaze orange. Glow green chartreuse. I guess that makes sense. Candy purple. Alright, so we're going to try those. There's instructions for here. I don't know if you can see it, but 1 ounce head jig, same thing. Use size 3/0 or 4/0 jig hooks. Eagle claw style, 570 or 575. VMC style 9147 BZ. So use pure or soft lead for best results. To remove sprue bend, bend and twist off. I guess that's another way you could do it, bend it and twist it off, but these cutters seem to work just fine. They work just fine. So that information that's kind of convenient, right? You don't have to remember what size hooks it are. It's engraved into your mold. The story is we got to take these inside. We're gonna go heat these up to, I think it said 350 degrees. Shake briefly to fluff it up. Preheat metal lures using a small torch, oven, or any flame for 4 to 10 seconds, depending on size. Quickly swish and powder and remove, knocking off excess. Lure should be hot enough to melt powder within 2 to 4 seconds after removal. Let cool. For maximum durability, hang and bake in preheated 350 degree oven for 20 minutes. Always pop out eye before curing. So I was warned with that as well. If you don't pop out the eye, and I'm sure we've all experienced it if you've ever been jig fishing with store-bought jigs, the eye's got paint in it and it's been hardened, and you ruin like a hook or two just to poke one out so you can get it on your line, tie it up, and go fishing. Okay, so got my oven. It's preheated to 350. And we're gonna stick them back down in here. Got a little tray in there because I don't know how much big of a mess it's gonna make, and I am married, so it's a concern. So we're gonna let this heat up, and then we'll preheat our jigs for a little bit, and we'll paint them, and then we'll bake them, and then we'll see what we got. Okay, there they are. Going in for preheat. There's almost a festive quality to them, isn't there? Silver bells. All right, going in. I'm set up like this because I can't think of a better way to do it without making a mess. So, I have some needle pliers. I got a little nail that I'm going to poke through the eye hole, hopefully, so they don't get all locked up. I can still thread a line through them. So they're preheating now. Let's start with, let's do, I got 50 of them. I got 3 colors, so 50 divided by 3 is like, what is it? Almost 17. So we'll do 16 on one and 17 another. I think 17 of 2 and 16 of another, something like that. All right, here we go. Oh, I didn't shake it up. All right, I already forgot the directions. Shake it up. Make it fluffy, it said. So, all right, there we are, fluffy. All right, I'm gonna make a mess. My wife is gonna kill me. Here we go. Let's try this. All right. I don't have enough hands, so that's a challenge. Here's our hot jigs. I'm gonna start in the back. All right, we just dip it and take it out, and then I gotta clear the eye hole. All right, so dip it, clear it out. Ooh, look at that. I see why you only dip it. All right, well that's cool. It's solidifying on there. That's kind of neat. Turns from a powder into like something shiny. I'm gonna poke the eye hole out. Oh, perfect. Fits in there. I didn't even check it. All right, and we're gonna set that one back in there. All right, number 2. We only gotta do this 50 times, so it's not very much. All right, we're gonna dip this one faster. I think that other one probably had too much on there. Okay. 2. Good. Oop, gotta clear the eye hole. Clear the eye hole. Oh, gosh, it's stuck. Here we go. But we're gonna get these out of here, and then we're gonna make up some stinger hooks, and then we'll be ready for this weekend, because I'm a weekend warrior, because I have a job. So, one of these should catch some fish. Maybe it's this one.